Hello, everybody. I know this is really impromptu, and I apologize for not sending a notification out, but I'm having a lot of difficulty with the phone storage on my phone. I have an iPhone 7, and I have deleted 9,000 9,000 files on my laptop, thousands of emails, multiple hours of videos on my phone, and it's still telling me I don't have enough storage on my phone to even upload a video or record a video or take enough photos. So it's been a real problem. I'm going to have to reboot my phone and stuff. But there are some things that I wanted to discuss. And for those people who are here, welcome newcomers, welcome subscribers. Last time I was not aware or didn't recognize that I could click a button to only allow subscribers into the chat. So I did that today. So only subscribers are allowed in the chat. And for people who are not subscribers, YouTube gives them 5 minutes or something like that to subscribe so that they can offer information in the chat. And again, this is very impromptu because there was some news that I wanted to discuss. I have no more storage on my phone. I'm having a lot of problems with my phone. And it's, the criminals did it. I'm sure that there's some erroneous hidden software on my phone and on my laptop that are causing it to do this. So for all of you folks that don't know, Tulsi Gabbard is now on a watch list. And some people will say, well, she's a politician, no big deal. But this is a huge deal, no matter what you think of her. She is aware that, and I'm going to read an article to you from the Racket News, American Stasi. Tulsi Gabbard confirms, quote unquote, quiet skies nightmare. Placed on a terror watch list, the former Hawaii congresswoman and her husband were tailed by air marshals and bomb dogs. Unconstitutional on every level, she says, and I am not the only one. This is written by Matt TAIBBI, TAIBBI, August 7, 2024. It's got 781 comments on it. Tuesday night, while self-styled Democratic nominee Kamala Harris pledged to defend freedom, compassion, and the rule of law, to cheers in Philadelphia, Hawaii's Tulsi Gabbard described being tracked by teams of government agents in a surveillance regime more reminiscent of East Germany than a free country. Whistleblowing air marshals told undercover DC Gabbard was singled out as a terror threat under the so-called Quiet Skies program, and the former presidential candidate says she noticed. The whistleblower's account matches my experience, says Gabbard. Everything lines up to the day. The story began 2 weeks ago when former Hawaii congresswoman returned home after a short trip abroad. In airport after airport, she and her husband, Abraham Williams, encountered obstacles. First, on a flight from Rome to Dallas, then a connecting flight to Austin, and later on different flights for both to cities like Nashville, Orlando, Atlanta, and their boarding passes were marked with SSSS designation, which stands for Secondary Security Screening Selection. The Quad S marker is often a sign the traveler has been put on a threat list. And Gabbard and Williams were forced into extensive random searches lasting as long as 45 minutes. It happened every time I boarded, says Gabbard. The Iraq War veteran and current Army reservist tends to pack light, but no matter. I've got a couple of blazers in there, and they're squeezing every inch of the entire collar, every inch of the sleeves, every inch of the edging of the blazer, she said. They're squeezing and patting down my underwear, bras, workout clothes, every inch of every piece of clothing. Agents unzipped the lining inside the rollerboard of her suitcase, patting down every inch inside the liner. Gabbard was asked to take off every piece of electronics out and turn on each of them, including her military phone and computer. That was another strange thing. I used my military ID to get through the security sometimes, says Gabbard, and among other things, traveled to her reservist base in Oklahoma during this period. Once, she was unable to get through security with her military ID. Transportation Security Administration, the TSA agent, saw the SSSS marker. The TSA agent said, "Why are you quad S? You're in the military," explains Gabbard. And I said, "That's exactly what I'm wondering." And she shows a photo here, and you could see SSSS on the ticket. Gabbard goes on to say, "Then I said, the only thing I could think of is I work in politics." And he said, "Oh." The agent told her he'd encountered supporters of certain former president who had no issues traveling before, but were now marked quad S every time they traveled. Gabbard shrugged and slodged through, and still encountering extra security. At one flight, she says, there were at least 6 TSA agents going through additional screening, along with a canine support. There were dogs in Dallas when I got there, dogs at a couple of gates. She called a colleague who told her, "These things happen, don't worry." So I thought, maybe I'm just being paranoid, Gabbard says. Oh, yeah. She's not being paranoid. She's starting the start of her torture. Then she saw this past Sunday's report in Undercover DC, a site edited by the well-known Twitter writer Tracy Beans. Uncover interview with Sonia Labasco, the executive director of the Air Marshal National Council, AMNC, an advocacy association for federal air marshals, disclosing that Gabbard had been placed on a domestic terror watch list. The former Marshal Labasco told a disturbing story. According to Labasco, Gabbard is unaware that she has 2 explosive detection canine teams, 1 transportation security specialist of explosives, and 1 plainclothes TSA supervisor, and 3 federal air marshals on every flight she boards. Is this sick? This is nuts. Meanwhile, they didn't have that kind of security when, what happened with, when that kid was on the roof and hit the ear. There wasn't this level of security there. Uncover DC said Gabbard was initially placed on the list July 23rd, and that trios of air marshals first began following her on her flights July 25. As Racket would learn, surveillance was conducted on at least 8 flights, with different 3 marshal teams for each flight, part of the TSA Quiet Skies regimen that can literally surround people with human watchers. There are potentially 15 or more TSA uniform and plain clothes at a gate for such assignments, Labasco turned Racket. The story about Gabbard was surfaced by two TSA whistleblowers, including one detailed to follow her. When Gabbard read this, she felt a shock of recognition. When I saw that, I thought, wow, okay, so everything I was experiencing was exactly what I feared was going on, she says. Though clearly outraged, Gabbard stresses the important part of her story isn't any inconvenience or insult that she's gone through. This is not a woe is me situation, she explains. Instead, it's bringing to the forefront how brazen the political retaliation and abuse of power continues to be under the Biden-Harris administration. The former Democratic congressman from Hawaii's 2nd District is far from the first American to be placed under physical surveillance as a domestic terrorist threat in post-9/11 America, especially since January 6, 2021, when the Quiet Skies program expanded to accommodate a broad effort to track people who are at the Capitol, Americans following Americans on planes, is no longer uncommon. though the public largely has no idea of the scale of this activity. However, Gabbard is by far the highest profile figure to be caught up in the surveillance web. As a war veteran with no connection to J6 or any other known offense, her appearance on a terror watch list is striking. Well, I'm on a watch list. I'm on a terror watch list too. The Manalapan Police Department called me a terror threat for walking on my own driveway. I kid you not. It's in writing. And symbolic of the way politicians and intelligence officials have turned the machinery of the war on terror inward in the last decade. This aspect of the story galls Gabbard the most. I enlisted because of the terrorist attack on 9/11, Gabbard says. I was like a lot of Americans. We enlisted to ensure the safety, security, and freedom of the American people and go after the terrorists who actually attack us. And so now, to have confirmation, I guarantee there are other men and women in uniform or veterans now being targeted. She used the word targeted. I can't think of a word that adequately captures how I feel. The closest I can think of is the deepest sense of betrayal. She pauses. It cuts to the core. Gabbard pointed to the summer's released documents from the ill-fated Homeland Intelligence Experts Group, an advisory panel led by former CIA Chief John Brennan and former Director of National Intelligence James Clapper. Litigation filed on behalf of former Ambassador to Germany Rick Grinnell led to the disbanding of the group and the production of documents identifying Trump supporters, people in the military, quote unquote, or religious as indicators for extremism or terrorism. Could you imagine? If you're a Trump supporter in the military or you're religious, that is an indicator for extremism or terrorism. Gabbard said this is an indication that the intelligence community is targeting people of many stripes, quote unquote, but especially those who still wear the uniform or who have worn the uniform. Neither Gabbard nor apparently the whistleblowing marshals know why the former congresswoman would be on the terrorist watch list. Gabbard has been a persistent, pointed critic of politicians in the current administration. The day before her reported placement on the TSA list, Gabbard appeared on the Ingram Angle and criticized the proxy war in Ukraine, saying that the administration was selling the public crap, excuses for expanding its military commitment with intent to turn Ukraine into another Afghanistan. A debate clash in the 2020 primary was also a factor in ending Harris's run that year, featuring the viral line, quote, "She put over 1,500 people in jail for marijuana violations, then laughed about it. And when asked if she ever smoked, quote unquote, Gabbard's account squares with Labasco's description of how quiet skies work. It's surveillance, Labasco says. Every flight, every leg. If she has 3 legs that day, it'll be 9 air marshals. So if she does 3 flights in a day, she'll have a set of air marshals on every one of her flights. As for canine teams, they maneuver over to the gate area. You'll have plainclothes TSA officers. You'll have uninformed TSA officers, and the canine teams will be running in the gate area. They'll have them floating around to try to pick up a scent of something. Labasco says these dogs are only trained for explosives, though, not narcotics. Now what? Gabbard, who has spoken to at least one of the whistleblowers, is reviewing possible courses of action, contacting former congressional colleagues about possible Hill investigation. In a seemingly related matter, Empowered Oversight, the firm that represented the FBI whistleblowers Stephen Friend and Marcus Allen, as well as IRS special agents Gary Shapley and Joseph Ziegler in the Hunter Biden case. They sent a letter Monday night to Homeland Security Inspector General Joseph Cuffari demanding an immediate investigation in the Gabbard case. The firm represented an air marshal in another ugly Quiet Skies case 2 years earlier. And though Cuffari's IG office promised in January 2023 to investigate, There's no evidence it ever did, making the Gabbard story even more troubling. So I'm going to end here on that because the article is quite long, but I just wanted to show you how it works and how at least this politician was fortunate enough to have whistleblowers come forward. Hi Sarah, hi Ace of Cups, hi Nitram. Hi everybody, whoever's there. Hi everybody. I'm sorry, I didn't see you guys coming in because I was reading, but I just wanted to show you that now this is a publicly now targeted woman. It is now public about what they are doing to her, and that she's on the list, and some of the reasons why she might have been placed on the list. Very, very political. Hi Billy. This is impromptu because I have no more space in my phone. I wanted to pre-record this, but I figured, you know what? Let me just get on live and say some of these things. So I also, more evidence on the homestead here. These witches, the bitches, the bitchcraft. They're now putting rusted pieces of metal on my grass so that when the lawnmower comes by, if you don't see it, uh-oh. Then there was another rusted huge screw on my driveway. These people are nuts. So anyway, I have the book, The Hidden Evil, The Financial Elite's Covert War Against the Civilian Population by Mark M. Rich. Oh, I just heard that, Billy. Um, how long ago did that happen? I wonder if that is part of her targeting. I mean, we know that, when it becomes overt, they've been performing the covert for at least 2 years. Oh, this year. That's really sad. You know what? I'm going to have to look into it. I don't know who her aunt is, if, she's like a famous person or, just her aunt or whatever. Oh, oh, that's horrible. Oh, that's horrible. You know what? I didn't hear about it in the news. So, but look at what happened with, our congressman. Oh, I'm forgetting his name here in Kentucky, but his wife drove her Tesla, into a pond, and the windows wouldn't open, and she drowned. Whatever. I don't know. Some of these cars, I would not own one of them because I believe they can be remotely controlled. Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that. But this book, The Hidden Evil, The Financial Elite's Covert War Against the Civilian Population, on the back, it says, Mark provides compelling evidence that wealthy Satanist psychopaths, you hear that? Satanist psychopaths are waging a covert war right in your neighborhoods as they establish a global dictatorship known as the New World Order. Hi, Nicholas. Their potential enemies are placed under constant surveillance by the security forces and attacked with silent and traceless directed energy weapons that leave no visible injury. Well, that's not true. I have a lot of visible injuries but from these weapons. These attacks are combined with psychological warfare to inflict recurrent emotional pain. That's right, it's trauma based mind control and satanic ritual abuse. To enforce their rule on the street level, they have recruited a major portion of the civilian population to stalk and harass targeted individuals. In this book, you'll learn the chaos that the financial elite have created in the past, why citizens obediently enforce their rule, the reasons people are targeted, the tactics that are used, its purposes, why the media won't properly cover this issue, and why it is allowed to exist. In order to install a dictatorship, the streets must be controlled. Your cities have been turned into a covert war zone, and multinational corporations hold the high ground. That's pretty serious. The hidden evil is their strategy for secretly neutralizing their civilian enemies. Many are targeted, and most are unaware of it. So he's got a website. I don't know if it's still here. It's thehiddenevil.com and newworldwar.org. So let me see what you guys are saying. You're up in mountains. Oh, okay. Oh, you're in the mountains. Okay. Are you in California? I don't know where that is. Where are those mountains? 8,500 feet. Well, if there's a flood, you'll miss it. You'll miss the flood. So anyway, this book, The Hidden Evil, I haven't read it. I just ordered it. I thought I owned this book already. But when I moved from New Jersey, Utah, you're in Utah. Okay. Isn't that where the huge fusion center computers are, where they store all of our information? Yeah. So I thought I had purchased this book, but then I can't find it, so I bought it again. So let me just turn to a few pages. This book was funded. He said, a special thank you to Claire L. Rich. She provided me with food and other necessities. Okay, so overview. Throughout this book, I will be presenting evidence on what I've discovered to be highly organized, covert psychological warfare campaigns being carried out on the civilian population and in all NATO countries. Upon researching this phenomenon, I found that it led to elite organizations that have instigated wars, manipulated major historical events, and have wreaked havoc on a population that is largely unaware of its existence. Yes, the Utah Fusion Center. Yep. We need to get rid of these fusion centers. Could you imagine how many people are employed there and how much money is wasted on fusion centers? He says, I will be explaining something that resembles insanity because it is caused by those who are pathological. See, now this is what happens when you've got psychopaths creating these programs. They are setting it up to look like we're the ones that are insane, when they're the ones that have created the programs and the scripting and employing people to carry out their psychopathy against normal, regular people. They know exactly what they're doing. The information in this book will be uncomfortable to most people. I do not present it for the purpose of scarring you, but it is a peripheral result of explaining something this repulsive in detail. There are multiple websites now devoted to this topic, which are listed in the sources section of this book. Some independent talk shows, such as The Grassy Knoll and The Power Hour, The Investigative Journal, and a few others have covered this topic, but it is not talked about in popular media for reasons which I will explain. Each person or organization used as a source may not necessarily agree with my overall estimation in this. If you're on the receiving end of this mechanism, or even if you're not targeted, but have researched it, you may not completely agree with all of my findings. I'm just presenting the information that I've compiled. I don't propose to have all the answers. There are people who will have a vested interest in discrediting me and the information in this book. I have taken much caution to minimize the amount of informational errors that it contains. But most books contain some errors. I have taken little liberty when making certain points that I believe are pertinent by doing my best to document this phenomenon as much as possible. But as much as I've done my best to do this, the media and others may find something wrong with it and relentlessly attack me. Some words or phrases might be twisted around and quoted out of context. Small, irrelevant inconsistencies may be blown out of proportion. There may also be a pervasive effort by multiple targeted individuals to discredit me or this information. As I'll demonstrate, these are predictable tactics. I will be referencing the work of doctors, former federal law enforcement, politicians, researchers. Some of these individuals have seen how things really work due to their experience on the front lines. This experience has given them a glimpse of matters that will eventually affect everyone. They have issued warnings to the public in their publications. During this presentation, you'll see evidence from both the political left and the right, because there are often barricades which prevent people who have adopted a political side from accepting information. And I ask that you briefly abandon any identification with a political party. This is necessary for two reasons. First, conservative and liberal news sources both publish useful information. Secondly, as I'll demonstrate, both political parties are controlled by the same source. The left-right political spectrum is a control mechanism. I've kind of always thought that. And I'm not a political person, but I suspected that. The first part of the current volume explains how the hidden evil can be allowed to exist in our society. It will cover the controlling financial elite, who they are, what they've done, and what their plans are. It will provide evidence to support my premise that, unknown to most citizens, groups of wealthy people control their governments. So that would be wealthy people in your state. The second part of Volume 1 is an overview of historical events that have been kept from official publications. It provides an outline which explains how the hidden evil is part of a recurring historical pattern. It also explains how these elite groups control the media, the schools, and have rewritten history. Furthermore, it documents their financial support for communist and fascist dictatorships, as well as a string of lies they use to cover their tracks. In Volume 2, we'll focus on the structure, tactics, and purpose for the hidden evil. I didn't realize that there was a Volume 2. Hi, SDL. Again, this was impromptu. I didn't have any memory on my phone, and I wanted to record some of this information. You'll have to play back the last half an hour because I read an article about Tulsi Gabbard, who's targeted now in the Quiet Skies program, and she's followed around by marshals. So now he goes on to say, I'll also cover the subject of Satanism, which has surfaced many times during my research, and it manifests itself on multiple levels of this program. And I will attest to the fact, and I have been saying this since New Jersey, that Satanists are torturing me and my animals. It's absolutely satanic. It's witchcraft. It's their rituals. And these Satanists hate anyone that is attractive, experiences joy, has that light, keeps a nice home, likes nice things. These Satanists are evil. They don't like trees or plants or anything that is attractive. Unless you're another Satanist. And then, of course, anything that you do is fine. But anything that a non-Satanist does is evil. We're useless eaters. So he says, I'll cover the subject of Satanism, which has surfaced many times during my research, and it manifests itself on multiple levels of this program. But it is not necessary to believe in any religion in order to recognize that the hidden evil exists. Yes, lies, and they are the devil. It's the devil. This book is not a complete coverage of the New World Order or the financial elite, nor is it an in-depth coverage of history and non-lethal weapons. But it's necessary that these subjects are touched upon to show a pattern which results that the hidden evil is a foundational element for a dictatorship and was created by people who have funded dictatorships in the past. Why would I want to focus on such a dark area of humanity? There is the argument by some mystics or New Agers that much of reality is an illusion. They insist that perception is reality, and if you choose to change your interpretation of an event, then it will have whatever meaning you assign to it. Many things can be changed by choosing a different belief system. But I also think there are principles and circumstances which exist no matter what. They exist regardless of our beliefs or our knowledge of the existence, and this is one of them. And this is a topic. When I was moderating a podcast a couple of years ago for 2 years, and again, I'm not a religious person. I'm not knocking anybody who's religious. I didn't grow up with a Bible. I grew up in a multi-religious household. We studied all different kinds of things. So I grew up accepting everybody. I didn't focus on one religion. But when I was moderating the podcasts and stuff, and I would bring up Satanism and witchcraft, that it's pervasive in our targeting, and there were actually sacrifices and we're paraphilias to them, these sick losers, I would totally get shut down. Oh, well, thank you. Thank you so much, Burger Boy. I love my animals. And I just want to tell you that little black kitty, it's so cute. But I think they did something to that kitten already because she's not as kittenish as she was. She would run to the door when I opened it. And the last 2 days, she's not doing that. I don't know. Maybe she's just tired. She didn't come to eat breakfast this morning. I hope they're not doing something to her. I hope they didn't medicate her or something. But I just know what they do to my animals. But yes, just so you don't have to. This is not a religious issue. The targeted people, we are being bombarded by these elites. They play us like a game, like a sim. And it is satanic ritual abuse. There's no other way for me to say it. It's satanic ritual abuse. Hi, Connie. Oh my goodness, that is horrible. Oh my goodness. I'm so sorry to hear that. I mean, I had a cat attack, but it was a psyop too, because they used a directed energy weapon to cut a triangle in my arm. And unfortunately, I can't show you the photo. I can't post a photo, and the photo was taken down on YouTube. I mean, I didn't get a strike or anything. They just took down my video. So I reposted the video without the image, and it was fine. It wasn't the content. It was just my thumbnail. I wanted everybody to see. You have a triangle in your leg? Oh, my goodness. Can you send me that photo? Send me the photo. Anybody who wants to see what they did to my forearm, email me at alternativehomesteading@gmail.com. In fact, I would like to create a mailing list. Whether it's through email or a mail program. It might even have to be, something I pay a little bit for that can organize it for me. Rachel was also a broadcasting person who claimed do attacks on her animal. Oh, what they do to animals is off the charts. You know, they tore the eyes out of my cat in New Jersey and left her out in the rain on Christmas Day with booze bottles all around her. Oh, it's horrible what they did. And they deliberately drew out one of my cats, one of my favorite cats, into the parking lot, and they deliberately hit him by a car. Deliberate. There was a witness that told me that was intentional. And then after he told me that, he was no longer able to speak to me. So yeah, they're setting all this up. This is evil, beyond evil. It's unbelievable. So what's a reptile? Oh, that's a great idea. The heat lamp, a reptile heat lamp to calm inflammation and heal them. Well, that's very interesting. Wow. Well, I love animals. I mean, I've been rescuing animals since I'm a child. I mean, if my mother were still living, she would tell you that I was always bringing home animals. You know, whether it was a butterfly, a worm, mostly cats. You know, mostly cats. Um, but so this book, The Hidden Evil. Let me see how many pages it is because he's got a lot of reference. He's got a lot of resources in the back. Wow. I'm literally opening it for the first time now. Wow. Oh, he's got so many references. He's got tactics, sabotage, vandalism, staged events. Oh my God, he's got some good stuff back here. Well, this is going to provide me with a lot of videos once I get my phone up and running. But the other thing I could do is I should actually record on a camera, like a real camera. Like I have a real camera that I could possibly record on. I have to figure out how it works. Oh, dachshunds. Oh, they're so cute. Dachshunds. When I was a child, Dachshund was my favorite dog. I used to call them hot dogs. I always wanted a hot dog. Yeah, your legs. I mean, I wake up and my legs are vibrating from the knees to my toes and they're hot. Like they're like 96, 97 degrees when I wake up. It's crazy. Just crazy. A flesh-eating bacteria. Oh my goodness. Well, the one thing when I got this cat attack coupled with the laser treatment they gave me at the same time, the Saya, I immediately ran into my shower and I took Epsom salt and I threw salt all over every open wounds. It burned like hell, let me tell you. it burned like hell. But I learned that from an Amish man. Actually, it was an Amish man who wanted to buy this property as soon as I moved here. It's like he's offering me the same thing that I paid for it after I moved my houses and all these buildings here. I said no. But he told me that, you know, the Amish people, if they get a bruise, the first thing they do is throw salt on it. They just keep salt on any bruise, you know, for several minutes. That's the first thing they do to disinfect it. Yeah, an infrared light. I actually have an infrared light, and actually some of them were stolen in New Jersey. What advice can I give people who want to help TIs but aren't afflicted? Okay, what I would do is I would recommend books. I would recommend books. I would recommend YouTube creator channels, you know, like David A. You know, mine, I'm trying to think, Weeping Willow. You know, she's got some good information there. You know, if you go back through some of her videos. What's his name? Freedom Voice Online. You sent me the pics of the heat lamp. Oh, let me just check my email a second. Let's see what I've got here. Okay, 1 second. Oh, I remember that. Yes, yes, yes. I have that lamp. I have that lamp, and I remember you showing me that triangle on your calf. Okay, now that is a triangle burn. I actually had a triangle cut into my arm. Stephen, I'll send it to you. Whomever's email address I have, I'll send it. Is there anything allies? Oh yes, okay. Okay. Allies of TIs. Don't I would tell allies of TIs to keep their mouths shut with other people. Oh, they cut me all right. Oh, you have no idea how they cut a triangle in my arm. And I know that this wasn't a cat. I've shared the photo with other people. They said no cat did that. Besides the fact that when the cat bit me, it did not break through my thick sweatshirt and compression long sleeve shirt. Fortunately, I was wearing those two things, but the laser was able to cut me without damaging my clothing. That's how advanced the technology is. So, what else I would tell allies of targeted people is there will be people that will attempt to tell them lies about the target. Do not listen to any of the lies. In fact, don't engage in conversation with people that are looking to get too close, asking questions. If somebody's asking questions of the targeted person, the ally of the targeted of the TI can say, I don't know. It's really simple. Just write yourself notes of responses to give to people who are trying to tear down a target. Do not engage in these people. There are going to be people out there trying to recruit you. They'll have a nice smile on their face, trying to get information from you to use against somebody in the target in the future. But also, I know that my long-term friends keep a little bit of a distance from me. It's like I'm still close with them. We can still talk about anything, but I don't talk to them as frequently. Oh yes, gaslighter, perps, and gang stalkers from fusion centers. Exactly. Yeah. So there will be outsiders trying to break up the allies of targets. My neighbors have done that. Any person that works here, they would approach. Tell them that I don't pay people. God only knows what else they said about me. They were spreading slanderous lies about me to get people to not work here or to get them to actually damage my property on their behalf. So other things I would tell allies of TIs is to just tell the truth. Like if somebody approaches them and asks them to help, I would immediately turn that down and maybe perhaps share that information with a targeted person, but also to make sure that that they're not being followed, that they're not being tracked and harassed. So to just keep their head on a swivel too. Um, You know, it's a lot of information for people to take in, just so much information. And it's like crazy making. It's designed that way for people to hear about it and say, this cannot be true. This cannot be happening. When it really is. Because you have to understand, yeah, exactly. They cannot trust, yes. They can trust our word. Yeah, exactly. And for people that know us a very long time, um, they can very easily make that determination. Like, I've got very long term friends. Um, I'm not as close with them anymore, but we can get on the phone and talk about, pick up where we left off. They know what's happening to me. At first, they thought it was nuts, but they know me. They know I'm not a person to make stuff up. They know that I tell the truth. They know what my life was like. They've been to my house. They know the way I am with my animals and with the way I am with things. They know how hard of a worker I was and am. So if somebody were to approach them and start telling them a pack of lies like I don't pay people, they would laugh in their face. There's no way they would believe anything like that. Or the other narrative in New Jersey was like I was a skinny little whore. Yeah, that's what they told that to my neighbor. They told that to my neighbor because I was a divorced single female who was in the dating scene. And I was like the only one on the block who was divorced at that point. And then, of course, everybody else caught my contagion. It was contagious, and like three other families got divorced after me and moved away. But I stayed. I stayed in that house and everybody else moved away. That's when they were moving in, the perpetrators and stuff around me. But yeah, so they actually cut I just got a notification to my phone. My iPhone storage is full. I'm doing nothing here. I'm doing absolutely nothing. And I have no storage. And meanwhile, I offloaded like all of my apps except 4. It's crazy. You had a friend you helped 1,000 times. When you tried to divulge what is happening, just a surface level, he refused to believe it. Like, come on. Well, you know what could be? It could be that friend, when you tried to divulge what was happening a little bit, it's very possible that they were contacted already. It's very possible. I'm not saying that they were, but it's always a possibility that they were contacted in some way. But remember, not everybody's going to believe this stuff, although a lot of people are waking up. Today, I don't know if you guys know the YouTube creator Off Grid with Doug and Stacy. Well, they have been revealing some bombs lately on their channel. It has nothing to do with homesteading or animals or anything. So they aired a video of Dr. Robert Malone speaking about how the entire population is being targeted with behavior modification and all kinds of other things that I'm not going to say here on my live. But yeah, I think that they when you say I'm probably right, I think that when a friend that you've known for a while says, well, I don't believe that, it's very possible that they've been contacted already. There are a lot of people out there that are fearful. They can be, some people are easily bribed, easily coerced, easily threatened. I mean, honestly, if somebody ever came up to me, like even with my sorry ass neighbors here, like if somebody told me a story about my neighbors, like I may or may not believe it, but it's not going to get me to do something, to harass them. I don't care if I don't like you, if I don't like my neighbors, I just want nothing to do with you. It's like that simple. I'm not going to have an all out, get even with you thing. And plus, besides the fact that the only way to get even with these people is in court. So, well, I'm so glad you're so echoes of infinity. I'm so glad that you have good friends and a spouse, and you know all know what's going on. So that's really good when you're sort of like all on the same page, you know? I mean, we're living in 2024. This stuff is happening. I mean, there's facial recognition. Um, there are cameras on street corners. You've got all these police auditor videos, all this horrific stuff that's going on, you know, cops against innocent people. I mean, it's all in the news, and the great thing is, you know, with TikTok, TikTok is showing all of these evils that are happening, and people are waking up. There are a lot of young people that are waking up too. But it is a satanic agenda, and now Mark Rich here says it. What's the word that he used here? Let me see. He used this psychopathic Satanists. I've got to mark these pages when I read it so that I can go back and find it again. Well, you know, and it's interesting because I had no idea any of this existed. Um, and when I started getting in on the conference calls, you know, the TI conference calls back in 2017, I would hear people speak, and they sounded really genuine, but I was still at a different phase in my targeting that what I was hearing was so off the wall to me that what because it wasn't happening to me at least then. Like I listened with an open mind, but it was almost, you know, too fantastical sometimes. But then, you know, as I grew into not my knowledge about the program and about, you know, MK Ultra and COINTELPRO, which I knew nothing about before, never heard of it. I had no idea what it was. And I've said it before, like I was so naive about the world that I did not even know what the FBI did or the CIA. I had no idea what they did. And then I bought a book. This is actually before I moved. I started reading the CIA book. Oh, that was sorry about the bell. That's my dryer going off. But I only read about what the CIA actually did when I bought a book, and I was horrified. So I was just horrified. Um, you're absolutely right, Bay Corp. There are a lot of targeted people that are ignorant, arrogant, and they don't listen. You're absolutely right. And they get on all these conference calls, and I just can't deal with it. I just have no patience for it anymore. You know, and I'm an open-minded person, and you know, I don't want to, um, you know, burst somebody's bubble about their beliefs, but this is so serious. What we're experiencing is so serious and tragic that if people don't wake up, like really snap out of it, you know, like that movie with Cher, you know, she says snap out of it. Well, I forgot the name of that movie. But you really people need to wake up fast because what is happening to targeted people is being rolled out to the rest of the country. And there are so many YouTube creators. I see that they're targeted. I see it. I see when they start talking about some of the things that are happening to them, and they just kind of moonstruck. Yeah, snap out of it. Yeah, moonstruck. That was it. I like that film. That was so cool. But thank you for that. Um, that there are so many people that are targeted. There are clueless, and you could see it in so many YouTube creators that are talking about things, and you could hear the sirens in the background and horns honking. There was one creator I was listening to, and it's like I couldn't believe it. There was a foghorn in the background, and I started. Yes, yes, Olympia Dukakis and Cher. Yes, I used to love Cher. I just loved her. Like, people used to say that I looked like her, in fact. Um, I just loved her, and, yeah, the foghorn. Yes, a foghorn. When I lived in New Jersey, a foghorn. It was probably coming from Red Bank. But I was watching a YouTube creator, and there was a foghorn in the background. It's like, oh my goodness. It's like those were my early signals of my being targeted. I look back now. It was so bizarre. Like, I had lived in New Jersey for 30 years, and suddenly I'm hearing a foghorn in the distance. It's like, what the hell, you know? Yeah, they are desperate. The trolls are desperate. They're very desperate. But yes, the high beams. Yes, yes, that happens here. Oh, well, wait a minute. I get even better than the high beams. You know, guys. I get IEDs thrown on my property, firecrackers, smoke bombs, whatever it is that they want to throw on my driveway to scare me and the animals and stuff. There, people around here are nuts. Let me just tell you, they're just crazy. They're trying to scare me off my property. Well, they could scare me all they want. I'm not leaving until I sell it. I mean, what are they, nuts? um, but anyway, so it's just after 8 o'clock, and pretty soon, like within the next 15 minutes, I'm going to sign off because I've got to get my birdies to bed. But I'm going to be reading more of this book because he's got it very well organized. The print is a very nice size. Like, I actually don't even need to wear my reading glasses with this, but he goes into so much stuff. Oh my goodness. I'm probably going to skip around in this book. He has a topic about enemy creation. Yeah, yeah, they honk the horns really loud. Microsocial insanity is another topic. Masked monsters, submissive obedience, reasons it exists, and potential targets. Let's see how many pages this is. Okay, whistleblowers, protesters, experimentation for recruitment, political movements. Well, they're definitely experimenting on me. Eugenics and entertainment torture. He says the reason it exists, and I'm just hopping around here. The reason it exists is because of whistleblowers, protesters, civil rights activists have a history of being targeted by repressive governments. Parents and children of targeted individuals are also being attacked for apparent purposes of intimidation, all done under the banner of national security. Let's see. The Stasi would attack families. Fulbrook described the children and relatives of dissidents might be subjected to harassment and personal disadvantage. She added that people could emerge with their health, self confidence, and future working lives damaged beyond recovery. Experimentation. One reason for the existence of this program seems to be testing the latest in surveillance and non-lethal weapons. MK Ultra, a known mind control project with 149 sub-projects, was conducted in universities, hospitals, military institutions, and prisons. According to author Jim Keith, under MK Ultra, about 23,000 people were traumatized. But other researchers in this area see this as an extremely conservative number. Since many of the records have been destroyed, we will probably never know. The paper trail for these experiments ended around 1984, but evidence reveals that they never stopped. It would appear that the CIA and FBI's operations MK Ultra, MH Chaos, and COINTELPRO were merely driven underground, stated McKinney. Labs are no longer necessary as dues and advanced surveillance technology can be used at a distance. And that's what they're doing to you and I. They're doing it at a distance. Yes, the symbolism is their downfall because they leave their symbols all over my property because they're narcissists. They want to take credit for their despicable work. Yes, it is their downfall. The symbolism is their downfall. Recruitment. Some people are allegedly targeted to recruit them as informants after they've been broken. Both the East German Stasi and the CIA would use constant harassment campaigns on people that they wanted to use as informants or people they knew they couldn't recruit and wanted to destroy. How about that? Oh, well, that's very interesting. Some Masonic lodges have been closed due to lack of attendance and new subscribers. Well, that kind of makes sense because, well, first of all, more and more information is coming out about these Masonic lodges. Two, people just don't have the time. Yes, I'm always open to ideas for videos. Yes, you can email me. Rather than writing it in the comments section, just email it to me so that I have it available. And also with these Masonic lodges, there is a membership fee, and people are just hurting for money. They're not going to be paying membership dues, whether it's monthly or annually. So I could see why not only Masonic lodges, but other sororities, fraternities, clubs, the membership would likely be down, I would imagine. And yes, you're right. The younger generations are smarter. And also the younger generations, they do a lot of research. They don't have the time. They don't want to do that kind of socializing. And that basically is socializing, right? You go to a club, what is it, once or twice a week with a bunch of old men, they're perverts. And who wants to deal with that? And that's the way I see it. And yes, well, thank you so much. Well, thank you so much, Echoes of Infinity. I really appreciate that. Thank you. I very much appreciate it. Any money that I get here, it actually goes into the money that I get on YouTube goes directly into my cat's checking account. Yeah, Freya's Cat Rescue. It does not go into my checking account. It goes into. Why are these lodges so secretive? Well, I just created a video about that. I asked AI. I created a video about it. Let me see. What's the name of my video? Let me go get it. 1 second. It is called. Oh, wait a minute. I'm stuck somewhere. Oh, okay. 1 second. I have to delete something here. I was in another document. Let me see. Okay, there we go. Oh, and by the way, I added a community post you might be interested in. One of our subscribers, Nicholas, emailed me all the laws that are being broken. Let me see. Where is that? Where's my video? Oh, it's a Q&A. It's on August 7th. I have a video, a Q&A. Why are secret societies so secret? What are they hiding? So you can go to that Q&A. Let's see if I can post the link. I'll post the link for you. Okay, so the link I posted is the video I created on why are secret societies so secret and what are they hiding? Yes, and the younger millennial generations want the now. They want ascension up quick. and they don't want to wait 30 years to gain grandmaster status. That's a really good point. They grow bored, they lose interest. Well, look, when TikTok started, they were 30 seconds. It was exactly 30 seconds. And then they're just flipping and flipping and flipping through it. Now you can actually I can upload a 20-minute video to TikTok. I mean, it takes forever, but I can still do it. But there are a lot of targeted people that are saving this stuff, but not everybody's listening to them all. Yeah, so let me see. Let me go to my video details here. Here's some reasons for secrecy. Let's see how much of this can post in the chat here. Oh, I'm over. It's too many. I'm only allowed 149 words in the chat. So let's see. Reasons for secrecy. Here's reason number 1. Oops. And while I'm typing in here, I got my Zoom criminals in the backgrounds. They're nuts. They're just so nuts. One second. Okay, so I posted the first reason why secret societies are so secret. Who wants to hang out with a bunch of old, boring men in some musty lodge? Well, I know somebody, a personal friend that decided to join. I mean, they don't go anymore, but basically that's what they said. They said it was like just a bunch of, like a chubby old men hanging around. And it's like, well, why would some, young up and coming entrepreneur want to hang out with these old fogies? I don't know. I'm sorry. And I'm old too, but I'm a different mindset. I don't join clubs like that. Let's see. And here's here's number 2. I'm messing up my, let's see. Yeah, so 2 is protection of the members, the reasons for secrecy. Historically, secret societies have provided a safe haven for members who might face persecution or discrimination due to their beliefs or activities. 3 is tradition and ritual. That's right, they're rituals. Many secret societies have ancient traditions, rituals, and ceremonies that they believe should be kept from the public knowledge to preserve their significance and sanctity, because they're all so perverted and criminal that if the general public knew what they did, they knew about those rituals and traditions, they would lock those people up. Literally, they're breaking the law by some of the things that they do. The animal cruelty, the torture, it's absurd. Yeah, exactly. They do own a lot of businesses or control them. It kind of reminds me of the mafia. Like I grew up in the Bronx, and there were the mafia crime families, and they were pretty much in charge of all the rest. They were in charge of the restaurants, the local restaurants, the trash pickup, concrete businesses. Yes, government contract. Tell me about it. I've mentioned on previous videos that I'm on the mailing list for the Department of Defense contracts. I receive it every day, and they are shelling out millions and millions and millions of dollars every day. It's off the charts. If they just stop spending money for a week, If they stopped spending money for a week, they could feed the entire United States homeless population. It's nuts. Ugh, yeah. Well, did you, Billy? Did you ever see that film Eyes Wide Shut with Nicole Kidman and Tom Cruise? They were married at the time, and they were married in the film. But it clearly shows what they do. Like it was sort of like a Bohemian Grove type movie. You know, where these elites they get all dressed up and then they wear a face mask, like these masks that beautiful masks, like Mardi Gras masks. Yeah. Yep. Yep. The masquerade mask. Yeah, like Mardi Gras. But anyway, it's almost 8:30 here. I'm gonna have to sign off. Hi. Hi there, Savage Gang. How are you? It's 8:30 here on the East Coast, and this is the time when I've got to get my chickie poos in into bed. The roosters go nuts. They want to get laid before they go to bed, and that's where the expression comes from. You have to live on a farm to see how these roosters behave at the end of the night. It's crazy. It's. Well, good night and thank you. And anybody that wants to, yes, yes, yes. Oh, it's crazy. Good, yes, it's crazy. So the only reason, and for those of you who are in the chat, the reason I started the chat is I ran out of space on my phone, and it's nuts because I've deleted so many videos and photos and I've offloaded apps, so I should have a lot of space, but I think that there's a hidden program on my phone. It gets extremely hot sometimes, and my phone is definitely hacked. So they don't want me recording video, so I've done this instead. So I was able to say a lot more here in 1 hour and 12 minutes. I was able to say a lot more in 1 hour and 12 minutes and be able to talk to you guys too. You know, it's different like going into my comments section and just clicking on that I recognize your comment and stuff. Oh, you have the same thing going on with your phone and PC. It's horrible. It's just horrible. Yes, the phones are weaponized, and somebody told me that the way they're putting me to sleep at night is through my laptop. I think it's radio frequencies to my head too, but it could be coming from my laptop. I'm not sure. But anyway, guys, it's not true at the laptop. It's through my phone number. It's my IP address. Okay. Well, I've had the same phone number since I still have my New Jersey phone number. So I'm not going to get rid of it. I just too many people have this phone number. It was bad enough when I left my landline in New York. I'm not New York, New Jersey, because I never used my cell phone in New Jersey unless I was out. I always used my landline. So everybody would call me on my landline, and then when I moved, I completely forgot that there were so many people that did not have my cell phone number. So I lost contact with a bunch of people that had no way of getting in touch with me. That yes, it's the frequencies to my bio code. That's exactly right. Yes, DNA. Well, you know, they've stolen my DNA over and over again. The Manalapan police stole my DNA when they sent me for a drug test after medically kidnapping me from my home without a warrant. A bunch of sickos. They're the sick ones. But yes. So anyway, anybody that would like to be on a mailing list, I'm not going to send you stuff. I'm not just to get in contact with people, like to send a photo or for you to send me a photo or whatever. Let me know. I have to figure out how to do it, if it should be done, just through the email, but I have a Gmail and I really want to get a Proton Mail account, or something else, or some kind of an email service, like I don't know. I'm gonna have to look into what some of the other YouTube creators have and see what if it like it's very costly. Because I'd like to do it that way, because it's an easier way to track email addresses and stuff than through Google. I mean, I don't want Google to know anything more than they already know. It takes a while to reprogram and get back to your phone. Yeah, I know. Well, maybe when I move to another state after I sell this place, maybe I'll get a new phone number. I kind of miss having a landline because I don't like carrying my phone with me. I really don't. Yeah, I exactly. I really don't. But the one thing I do love about my phone is being able to take photos. But I could do that with a camera too. I mean, I could walk around with a camera. And actually a camera can take a video or photos. So I just have to figure out how to use a camera again. You get grow so accustomed to using a phone because everything's in one place. Oh, well, you know what I do at night, most of the time, not all the time, but most of the time, I do have an EMF pouch. I have two phones. One was my mother's. After my mother passed away, I inherited her phone, and that's always in an EMF pouch. And then I have the same EMF pouch for this phone, but sometimes I fall asleep without it being in the pouch. Yeah. Well, thank you for the recommendations. And I just want to say that there was a guy on Quora that responded to one of my messages. I'm so pissed that I didn't cut and paste it. It was such an important message about shielding, and the criminals deleted it. It's nowhere. They must have seen me reading it, knowing how important it was, and I was going to read it on a video, but I couldn't free up the space on my phone. And then when I went back last night to retrieve it, it was gone. I even went onto Quora to see what messages were sent to me, and I could not find it. It's like it never existed. It was horrible. It was such important shielding information. But before I go, I want to read something that Gabriel gave me. Gabriel is the targeted guy who's been targeted from childhood. Now he sent me an update. Let me see. Okay, he sent me something about shielding. Okay, he says, I'm writing an update to you. My situation here in Perpland, Los Angeles. I'm in the process of moving my things out of the building. I've been accepted into a shelter here in the Skid Row area, and it's completely filled with perps. In fact, the whole neighborhood is infested with perps wherever I go. I have the Midas touch effect. Wherever I go, it fills up with perps. Here at the Central Library, the city of Los Angeles, all the staff and patrons are perps. There's an LAPD substation, perps too. And there's a security guards, also perps. Right now, I'm watching the live stream you did on YouTube. At the beginning of the broadcast, you were chatting with someone who lives in Southern California. I would like to know if it would be possible to get in touch with that person. It turns out that there is a channel I follow where they supposedly found a way to take down the electromagnetic mesh that holds the stripes in the sky. Once you take down the electromagnetic mesh, the planes drop those chemicals, but they don't stay in the air. The solution is a device that uses the following ingredients: micronized aluminum waste, like found in workshops that install aluminum frame windows, quartz stone, polyester resin, and some kind of a mold to craft it. This remedy is based on the discoveries of Wilhelm Reich, Reich. I have some of those ingredients, but I haven't been able to make those crafts because you need an open space to avoid the toxic gases emitted by the resin. Supposedly, the resin, when it dries up, compresses the mixture. It includes quartz, and when compressed, it emits an electromagnetic pulse equal to the emissions from the cell phone antennas, which is what forms the electromagnetic mesh that holds the trails in the air. Supposedly, the weather returns to its natural state and drives these psychopaths who control the government crazy. So, a little while ago, I already got the nickname of this chat participant. Since I left YouTube, in an open translator tab. When I returned to YouTube, that part of the chat was no longer there. P.S. This remedy does not affect the Wi-Fi or other types of communication. The contact with the participation in the chat is to see if this person wants to help me help me with these artifacts, with this project. Now, I want to say that along those lines, and then I'm really going to have to go. I know, I feel so bad for him. I feel so bad for him. Oh, thank you, Ace of Cups. I will look at it after I get my chickens to bed. Zackos Breedlove Ewing, in one of his videos, mentions exactly what Gabriel is describing, that aluminum, not only aluminum framed windows, but aluminum screens. If all of your windows have aluminum screens, like now they're made out of like plastic, like this, whatever. So you don't get the same kind of shielding, but then you connect them with, I think, copper. And if you can do that around your whole house or apartment, that is a complete Faraday cage. That you can replace whatever screens you have with aluminum screens, and then you can create your own Faraday cage. So anyway, I'm no shielding expert at all. These are just, I'm just putting it out there, what I've read. I've used everything imaginable. It's ridiculous. I've spent so much money and it's just useless. It feels useless. It feels okay for a couple of days and then it's useless. But anyway, thank you everybody for signing into this impromptu chat. I'm going to end it now. I have to. I've got to go get my animals to bed here. But thank you all, and thank you for the donation and for listening. Yes, Tony Pantalaresco. Yes, his channel. Oh, I forget what it's called. I always forget what it's called. Something. I think it's something flowers or something. I forget. I'd have to go look for it. I think he's in my contact list. That's it. Beads and Featherworks. Yeah, it makes no sense to what he's talking about. Beads and Featherworks. Yes, that's it. Herbs, yes. And herbs, yes. Yes, he used a lot of herbs. He did. Yes, and everybody, you all need to take an Epsom salt bath with baking soda to get this garbage off your bodies. It does help. It makes you feel squeaky clean. But I'm going to sign off for now. What is it? Yes, herbs plus, yes, that's it. Herbs plus beadworks. Yes. Well, thank you so much, everybody. I'm going to sign off for now. It's getting dark here. I've got to get my birds to bed. And any cats that are still like wandering around outside, because some of them refuse to go in the house at night. So have a great night, everybody. I'm going to sign off for now. Thank you. Yes, thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. And thank you, everybody, for sharing my videos. We've got to get the message out there and help people. Take care, everybody.